Jonathan, I'm curious if I could ask you about a tip or something that you learned at some point that really helped you grow, helped open things up for you.
Sure. Yeah, I think a big thing for me, and I've always been about that, I think is fundamentals. And I think like for me, as long as you can put a really strong foundation of anything, you can kind of build upon it more and more. So for me, it's scales, you know what I mean? And scales, and like once you're more familiar with scales, like you understand the sound of each scale. So even if you're just starting out and you're just learning like a major scale, like that's the sound. The more you kind of have foundation of like starting to understand how each note sounds, to my personal opinion, you can start building more texture upon like specific scales, you know what I mean? And like you can create more variation in your playing, and the more that you do it, your ear kind of gets kind of tuned into those little things. So yeah, I would say fundamentals, scales.
Can you show me one of those variations? That was cool. What you just like everything, like you got a G. How would you vary that?
Yeah. Right. I mean, so like it depends on the chord really, but like I mean, obviously you have like the main ones that you have like the major scale, and then you have the modes like the Mixolydian one. But then like the more you kind of get into it, you can kind of say, what can I play over a G that has a little more texture, you know? Like, so like you can have, let's say if you have a G chord, but if you're kind of playing a little more jazz, and like you can get into those like, and like it's kind of like combining different scales. So you can kind of, let's say on a G chord, you can play like an A flat, what's it called, melodic minor, which is kind of like a G altered, which is kind of like the same thing. Cool. Right, which is kind of the same. You can get into the whole like octatonic things like that. Which is kind of like, it's like a G over A flat. It's kind of like a diminished major 7. So like it could get really like, it's kind of like what tone you're looking for. Yeah, kind of.
Cool.
Yeah. And then you like, the more you do it, the more you kind of find sounds that you like. And we talked earlier, we found like over the La La Land thing, like on this F sharp on the record, they're playing like a G, which is kind of like a over, which is just cool. I think like, and for me, it all starts with scales and all starts with fundamentals of just like building strong foundation of like, I know how to do this. I trust myself to know how to do this, and you kind of like dive into it, and you know that you have the facility.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you so much for tuning into the Duet Show. I'm Drew Taubenfeld. This is Jonathan Asperil. And feel free to like, subscribe, comment, share with your friends. Tell us what you like. Tell us what you want us to discuss more on here, and we're listening. And we hope to see you for more episodes.